What is up, everyone? It is Landman here with another episode of Cheeseheadz Weekly. I'll be honest, this episode is likely to be a little shorter as I'm a little bit pressed for time here to start my week. But this is episode 58 of the show, and I'm here recording this on a Monday as usual. But the March is March 5. Episode of the show, and excited to get into some of the pre-free agency, post-combine analysis, and talk a little bit about potential targets in free agency for the Packers, although I'll probably get into more of that stuff, my main free agency preview next week. And that will be I'd probably be recording it on as the league tampering period starts, free agency frenzy. Everyone's getting all the big time players getting the deals, and so should be interesting to be able to experience some of that. But before we get into the show today, like I said, I didn't prepare a whole lot, so hopefully it won't be too scattered. We do have the Q&As and polls on Spotify. That's only on Spotify, but be sure to check those out if you're listening on Spotify and participate in those. A lot of fun, makes for some discussion of certain topics. Be sure to check out the link in the description of every episode on YouTube and wherever else you can get your podcasts. The show is available, like I said, pretty much everywhere, and new episodes come out every Tuesday. We are available on YouTube now, video as well as audio, which is a cool semi-new thing we've been doing here with the show as we continue to grow the show. So be sure to check us out on YouTube, subscribe, hit the bell icon on YouTube and or Spotify to be notified when a new episode comes out. Be sure to tell your friends about the show to get the word out. That would be fantastic. You can also rate the show, rate and review on Apple Podcasts, rate the show on Spotify as well, and follow me on social media. Check out the description of the episodes. Have all the different places you can follow me on social media at Cheeseheadz_weekly. X is at Cheeseheadz_W, and you can check out the website, greatcove.net/Cheeseheadz, for all the places to follow me and all the episodes as well. All right, so we'll get into a little bit of just news, lots of news with the Combine press conferences going on, and definitely a lot of buzz going on. So we'll start with some Aaron Jones news. So Packers obviously are looking to draft a running back in the draft this year, likely. We had some news come out that Aaron Jones and the Packers, Aaron Jones' representation in the Packers, are working on restructuring a contract to bring down his cap hit. Now, it could be a pay cut or it could be just some kind of other restructure. We don't know. It was reported by Tom Silverstein. Oh, that was a good one. Tom Silverstein of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. So, very respected reporter of the Packers. And Drew Rosenhaus is Aaron Jones' agent. So, yeah, high cap hit, but it sounds like they want him to bring him back, although there was a report also that it has not been ruled out that that Jones could be released. Silverstein mentioned that mentioned that as well, that Jones could be released if a restructure cannot be completed, because likely Packers are viewing this as a must-happen in some way. I hope they do not force this on Jones, especially like the pay cut. Try to make it happen in any other way possible would be great. So Jones isn't, having to take a pay cut, but again, it's up to the Packers, and we'll see what happens, but I know they do want Aaron Jones back. Okay. Also, we're talking about drafting backs for behind Jones, and the Packers want according to Brian Gutekunst, they do want a bigger back behind Aaron Jones, kind of like the A.J. Dillon type. This is not really an indication that A.J. Dillon is coming back. In fact, it has also been reported that A.J. Dillon is not likely to re-sign with the Packers. Packers not expected to re-sign A.J. Dillon, again, according to oh my goodness. I keep trying to say his first name with an S. I have no idea why. Tom Silverstein of, again, the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. Not expected to re-sign A.J. Dillon, who was a second-round pick in 2020. And, again, looking to restructure Jones. So looking to keep Jones, not expected to bring back Dillon. So likely wanting to draft a bigger back, and they met with some players in during the combine to some running backs, a part of that, to get an idea of who they want to draft. So I will get into some of my just try to go through the interviews here by the Packers for all these different positions. Run through those. I'm not really going to have a whole lot of analysis about those guys because I don't really know a whole lot about them at this point. But we will talk a little bit more Packers news here. We still got more of that. Apparently, Goody or someone from the Packers, Brian Gutekunst is looking at, apparently was asked about Braylon Allen. And so, Braylon Allen has a very downhill running style, and this is actually Allen talking. This is not Goody talking about Braylon Allen specifically. Allen said at the NFL Combine didn't do a ton of drills and did not do the 40-yard dash, which could be an indication that he lacks speed, which may not be what the Packers are looking for. Dillon wasn't exactly a speedster either. Quote, I bring a lot of physicality and a downhill running style. Braylon Allen, a more old school style, but I can also catch the ball and run routes, pass protect, and I think I bring a lot of value in that way. Just being versatile. Now, I have heard some things from the Combine that he did run some drills and did not do great trying to catch the ball. That doesn't exactly mean anything. Combine doesn't mean a ton, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that here in a second. Braylon Allen could be a guy. I believe they did meet with Braylon Allen. According to Packers Insider, the Packers hosted Missouri cornerback Ennis Rakestraw Jr., Georgia safety Javon Bullard, Miami safety Cameron Kinchins, Tulane quarterback Michael Pratt, Texas running back Jonathan Brooks, Notre Dame running back Audric Estime, and Oregon safety Evan Williams. I do believe there were some more too. Braylon Allen was one. I don't think this is totally updated as far as I've seen. But that's some of them. Braylon Allen, I believe, is on that list as well, along with a few others. So, a quick note here. I said quarterback Michael Pratt was in here, who's likely a day 3 quarterback. Goody said in one of his press conferences at the Combine that he's been really impressed with Sean Clifford, everything he's done in his rookie year, but that the Packers would be likely, or that the Packers want to get back to drafting and developing the quarterback position, and they have drafted guys in the past that have become starters for other teams because they did, like Ron Wolf, like to draft and develop quarterbacks. So, interesting that the Packers could be looking to draft a quarterback. Again, that does not mean anything. Does not mean anything bad for Sean Clifford or Jordan Love. High praise for both of those guys, but could be looking to continue to kind of just draft and develop that position. So just an interesting way of attacking the quarterback position for the Packers. The NFL salary cap ended up being raised more than expected. Now, Goody did say it's nice. He says, quote, "It probably alters our thinking a little bit, but not a lot. It gives us some more flexibility." So basically, it gives them, my guess is, and from what I've heard other places as well, that this mainly is just going to make so they don't have to restructure as many contracts, push as much money into the future, but that they probably aren't going to, go into free agency crazy active, not a ton more than normal. However, Goody did talk about that as well. Just the fact that they could be more active in free agency. Packers do have $14 million in cap space now, as opposed to $7 or so that they had before. I don't remember the exact number. So about $14 million in salary cap space at the moment. And again, they're trying to bring down Aaron Jones' cap number and potentially some other guys. So yeah, and also they might be looking to get an extension done for Jordan Love. So that could also potentially lower their salary cap hit for next year. Okay, so the NFL Combine, we had a lot of wide receivers show out. Packers did meet with some wide receivers, including guys like Xavier Worthy, Adonai Mitchell. I believe they also met with Xavier Worthy has kind of been, the talk of the town ever since he broke the 40-yard dash record formerly held by John Ross. And John Ross is known for one thing, his ability to run the 40-yard dash. So this may not be an indication. A lot of people think Xavier Worthy, he's fast, but he's more than just fast. I get it, but here's the deal. For one thing, I think John Ross was a better athlete as far as speed goes because he was 5'11". Xavier Worthy was also 5'11", but John Ross was a whole 23 pounds heavier than Worthy. So I about guarantee you, if Worthy had that extra 23 pounds, he isn't running a 4.21 40-yard dash. The former John Ross was 4.21, so he didn't blow it out of the water or anything. And my goodness, if John Ross would be like Xavier Worthy's weight, I mean, he could have ran sub 4.2. I mean, that would have been crazy. So I get it. He's quick. Worthy's quick. But don't put too much stock into it. 40 time running in underwear is not the underwear Olympics is what it's referred to, what the combine is referred to by some. The 40-yard dash, you're not in pads. It's not like on a field. So it doesn't carry as much weight to me as just the actual game tape film. And so the combine is used to validate what you see, I think. Sure, it pushes guys up draft boards, and Packers do value athleticism a lot, especially in the early rounds of the draft. But I'm just saying that combine does not mean anything. It does mean something. It does not mean everything. And so you got to take it with, a grain of salt a little bit. All right. So as far as the draft, as far as a lot of these prospects, I have not, looked into them a whole lot, especially specifically for Packers. I've looked at some skill players that I potentially could be drafting in my Dynasty Fantasy Football League. So I'm getting really excited about that rookie draft, coming up in like 2 months now. But again, haven't done a whole lot of Packers research, but free agency kind of comes first anyway. So I'm hoping to hit some mock drafts, hit the mock draft sim, and start getting to know these players. I have been getting to know them a little bit, but haven't really figured out kind of which guys are my guys that I want to see the Packers draft. But definitely things are heating up. As far as other combine buzz, Darnell Savage could get a, quote, nice deal in free agency, according to Jeremy Fowler of ESPN. He's among the NFL free agents that should do pretty well once the new league year starts. So I think that all but indicates he's not going to be back with the Packers. With what he did with the Packers, I don't think they're going to be willing to bring him back unless they can bring him back cheap. And Seth Katz, Savage's agent, apparently told ESPN's Rob Demovsky that he expects significant interest in his client in free agency, but all agents say that about their own players, I guess, so who knows. Another source told Demovsky that Savage could command $5 to $7 million per year. So, yeah, again, mentions here that Packers would probably allow another team to sign him. So likely not going to re-sign Savage either, I think, is kind of what we can say reading between the lines. So according to Brian Gutekunst in a one-on-one talk with Larry McCarron, asked about free agency, if he's expecting to be active in free agency, he, quote, said, "I do, and I think we are every year." So, classic answer. He also went on to say, "There are good players in this free agency class, and certainly we are going to be in the mix on some of those things. So, hey, maybe we'll go get a top guy." We've been quiet in free agency the last few years. The last time we went big on free agency, and not necessarily big, but that was back in 2019 when we signed Zadarius Smith, Preston Smith, and Adrian Amos to big deals, and also added offensive lineman Billy Turner during that time, who had a few quality seasons with the Packers as well. So, again, March 11th through 13th is when the league's legal tampering period runs. New league year starts Tuesday, March 13th. So, market's going to heat up, and we do have some free agency news as well. So here are some of the pieces of news. Not very many, but we do have a little bit of news here. As far as the franchise tag window has been opened and is still open until, I guess, as you're listening to this, 4 p.m. Tuesday is when it closes, I believe. The 5th of March. Players who have been tagged, only 2 of them. Wide receiver T. Higgins from the Cincinnati Bengals. It's possible they will try to trade him if they can't reach a long-term extension. We'll see what happens with that. But yeah, he's been tagged. And cornerback L'Jarius Sneed for the Kansas City Chiefs placed the franchise tag on Sneed instead of Chris Jones, their star defensive end, who apparently is trying to sign a long-term contract with the Chiefs. I think they're trying to get a deal done. Chiefs have also granted L'Jarius Sneed permission to talk to other teams about a potential trade. So it's perhaps likely that he will be traded, but you never know with these things. And it's also quite possible he could be back with the Chiefs for at least another year. Players who are not expected to be tagged, we have Giants running back, basically all the top running backs that were tagged last year. Giants running back Saquon Barkley. The Giants are still trying to get a deal done with Barkley. They just will not be franchise tagging him. And I'm sure he'll command at least probably the most interest of any running back on the market. But again, he is a running back, and NFL does not value running backs very highly. Cowboys running back Tony Pollard also on this list. Titans running back Derrick Henry, and Raiders running back Josh Jacobs, and Chargers running back Austin Eckler. So basically all the top running backs, and there's a good many this year. Will be hitting the open market likely if they cannot get a deal done with their teams. So could be an interesting one this year to see where the running backs land. As far as other news, it's getting to a little bit NFC North here. The Detroit Lions have re-signed kicker Michael Badgley to a 1-year deal and have signed linebacker Jalen Reeves-Maybin to a 2-year extension worth up to $8 million, including $5.245 million guaranteed, according to Mike Garafolo. Also, I believe Demarcus Robinson of the Rams re-signed on a 1-year deal for $5 million, if I saw that right. See, that's a good deal for him. And also, the Buccaneers have signed Mike Evans to a 2-year massive extension. Maybe I should look at this here real quick. Sorry, I just lost it here for a minute. Right up here. All right. 2-year, $52 million deal. Let me just see. I think there's a good bit of it guaranteed. There were some more details. It's set to make $26 million per year. And I'm not sure it does say the guaranteed money. I thought I saw it somewhere. At any rate, set to make a lot of money as a wide receiver. So I think that's a good move. Mike Evans just seems like a Tampa Bay Buccaneer. So good job, Buccaneers, to get your star receiver back. I believe he is now 30 years of age. So getting up there, but 2-year extension. I don't think that's a bad move. Jason Kelce, star center of the Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champion, host, at least part host of the New Heights podcast. Jason Kelce has officially retired from the NFL after 13 seasons with the Philadelphia Eagles. He finished his career as a 7-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro, and, like I said, 1-time Super Bowl champion. Also made an appearance against the Chiefs 2 years ago. So, a very emotional press conference. I did not watch the whole thing, just the little clip where he said he was retiring. Pretty much the clips where he was crying, because social media loves that, of course. Yeah, a great career for Jason Kelce. Expecting him to be a Hall of Famer, as most people do. If we look at the Combine, I just want to go over this quick because Packers are looking for a safety. I didn't think safeties did all that great at the Combine, at least not the really top-end ones, which some of them may not have tested. But here are the safeties that registered a RAS of at least 8.0. And again, I haven't talked about these, so you might not be familiar with any of these guys unless you follow the draft more than I do. To be honest, I don't really recognize any of these names, and that's pretty bad because I've heard quite a few top-end names. Like, I don't know if they didn't test well or they didn't test at all. I'm not real sure. Ryan Watts of Texas had a 9.84 RAS score. Cole Bishop of Utah, 9.81. Dominique Hampton of Washington with a 9.73. Jalen Carley's Missouri, 9.50. Isaiah Johnson of Syracuse, 9.13. Marcellus Dial, South Carolina, 8.93. Dadrion Taylor Demerson of Texas Tech, 8.87. Jalen Simpson of Auburn with an 8.76. Millard Bradford, TCU, 8.32. Jalen Key, Alabama. Oh, yeah. Alabama, 8.25. Catan. I'm not real sure, actually, about that one. Oladapo, Oregon State, 8.23. So one big name that they do mention here is Cameron Kinchens from Miami, popular pick for the Packers in a lot of mock drafts in the second round, mainly. Posted a RAS of just 2.07 with a 4.65 second 40-yard dash. Not great at all, and did not really expect that. The lowest RAS from a member of the secondary that Goody drafted belonged to cornerback Shamar Jean-Charles, a late day 3 pick who scored 4.24. The other 8 selections were all above 8.0. So interesting to know. Wow. And, I mean, definitely need a guy that's athletic for kind of the post safety because you want them to do a little bit of everything. According to Halfley, he wants a guy who can erase things, eliminate explosive plays, be able to stop the run that's, up the middle, and got to be able to tackle. Go finish up tackles for others, kind of just, be able to go sideline to sideline, ball production. Got to be able to communicate, of course. They got to do a lot if we're going to be playing cover one. And none of those guys are the high-end names that I have in my head. And Cameron Kinchens is one of those that, did not test well at all. He should not have tested. 2.07 is a really, really bad score. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. I'm not sure if those other guys tested or not, but really could use some athleticism. And if not, potentially the Packers will go after some guys in free agency. From what I've heard, there is a guy named Xavier McKinney who's been receiving some rumors to the Packers. Doesn't exactly mean a whole lot. Goody did not rule out picking a wide receiver, and we did have lots of athletic wide receivers. They met with some of the wide receivers, so including some higher-end guys. So we'll see how that goes. Oh, I did want to mention cornerback Max Melton, man. I am excited to see what happens with this guy. I really do hope he will become a Green Bay Packer. Cornerback out of Rutgers. Posted a RAS score of 9.68. Had a really great day at the Combine. Posted a 4.39 40. Showcased his explosiveness as well with a 40.5-inch vertical, which is very impressive. 11 foot 4 inches in the broad jump. And he's mainly a boundary cornerback who had 8 interceptions the last 3 seasons and 15 pass breakups during that time as well. So Packers did meet with him. That's another one that was not on that list I mentioned earlier. I do remember that. And talked about how it would be a dream come true if he was with the Packers, and just the opportunity to play alongside his brother, Bo Melton, who kind of emerged last season. So that would be a really exciting duo to have. And Max Melton potentially improved his stock to become a day 2 draft pick. So maybe the Packers could get him in the 3rd round, possibly the 4th round, but his stock is rising to be sure. I would love to see Max Melton become a Green Bay Packer. Hey, he's athletic, so he's a Green Bay type. We'll see what happens. On the PFF big board, he is ranked 112, and I'm liking. It's likely that ranking will get better for him as well. Okay. I guess I won't talk too much more because I'll be talking just really randomly. But again, keep an eye on guys like Xavier McKinney in free agency at the safety position. I think safety is by far their biggest need at this point because I'm not sure they're going to bring back any of the guys they had. McKinney is only 25 years old and probably the most well-rounded option available other than Antoine Winfield of the Buccaneers, who could be franchise tagged, although Bucs are running out of time to do so. So it's possible Winfield will be out there, but he's going to be really expensive. McKinney possibly too much for the Packers as well, so we'll see. But there are some other safeties on the market, and keep an eye on inside linebacker. If the Packers play go to a 4-3 base defense, they're going to have 3 off-ball linebackers on the field instead of 2, which means they're going to need some more depth because they don't have a ton at the moment. According to Brian Gutekunst, they would love to have Devondre Campbell back, who could be a potential cut candidate, but sounds like they want to keep him. But again, he's often injured. You have to account for injuries, and right now they have, to me, only 3 guys that are startable options. So I think that's an underrated need for the Packers, and one that I'm sure they'll address via the draft. So we'll have to keep an eye on that as well. So also there are some guys in free agency, but really safety I think is the biggest need. Corner's a need. Linebacker a sneaky need maybe. And offense, I honestly think we're pretty good. I think they're going to address offensive linemen because the class is pretty strong as far as offensive linemen go. Haven't looked into that a ton. And I don't think they'll draft one really high. I kind of hope they don't. But I think they should really just go defense first and give Hafley all the pieces possible to hopefully have him succeed early and just get this defense rolling. Because, the offense was so good at the end of the year. Obviously, we're going to draft a running back at some point. But that and offensive line, I think we're pretty much, set. You can always use another guy at every position. Like Goody said, building that competition. He thought the competition between guys was really good last year, especially in the receiver room. Without adding a veteran, those guys just were really competitive and played really well. So just keeping things competitive in each room and just creating depth all the way around. All right. That will about do it for me today. Thanks for listening. Again, kind of a scattered episode. Not a whole lot of specific topics, just a few random highlights I wanted to go over post-combine. As we get closer to free agency, I'll go over my major targets and give kind of a major free agency preview. Next week, as the league tampering period starts, free agency frenzy starts. So it'll be a fun, exciting time for sure. And we'll see. Maybe the Packers will be involved in some of that early action this year. Keep an eye on it. And again, we'll have the draft coming up eventually, and I'm hoping to get into more of that besides just my dynasty scouting. And just be sure to tell your friends about the show and subscribe, follow wherever you get the podcast. Rate the show if you can do that. That would be fantastic. Check out the Q&As on Spotify. Send in a voice message, literally about anything. Can be a question I will answer. Can be a topic you want me to discuss. The off season is going to get a little bit dry and boring potentially. So if you have something exciting you want me to talk about, please let me know in the comments on YouTube in a voice message, whatever it is. If you don't want me to play the voice message on the show, I do not even have to. It could just be a way to contact me. And of course, you have my email in the description of every episode where you can contact me directly as well. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. And go Pack Go.